And today's topic is a huge one, which is my man picker broken? And what does that even mean, right? So let me ask you a few questions. Question number one, do you find yourself attracting the same kind of guy over and over? He looks different, his name is different, it even seems different, and you're like, oh my God, I finally got this right. And then you go, oh, dang, it's the same freaking relationship that I had before. He's the same person in different clothing. Anybody have that happen? I know I used to have that happen. Here's another question. Maybe he is different, right? Maybe he is different. And you're in a relationship and things are moving forward and they're actually seemingly good. But after you get out of the honeymoon period, you start to go, dang, the same dramas are happening, the same patterns are happening, and he's the same guy again. It's so frustrating, right? I know it's so frustrating. And here's the thing. Do you start asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Anybody here? What's wrong with me? And that's heartbreaking because there's nothing wrong with you. However, there are some things that might need to be tweaked. You know, there are some coaches out there that will say, there's nothing wrong with you. And it's true. There's nothing wrong with you, sister. You're not broken. You're beautiful. You're amazing. And there might be some things that need to be cleaned up, which will be affecting you. Because guess what? If you're dating the same guy over and over and having the same patterns over and over and having the same dramas over and over, common denominator. And I've been there, and I know that heartache, and it's so frustrating. But that's why I do the work I do. I'm Love Coach Junie Moon, and I've been where you've been. Seriously, I have. And it had me questioning whether I really could have a different type of love, a different kind of partnership. Can I actually find someone to meet me heart to heart, soul to soul? And so I decided to do a 5-part, let's help you fix that man picker, so that you can actually have a very different relationship. And I'm going to do it over the next 5 weeks. So this is part 1 for Tips for Love Tuesday. Part 1 is how to identify if your man picker is broken and what to do about it. So if you answered any of those questions before, saying, yeah, I have these patterns that keep showing up, and it seems like it's the same person. He's still not communicating with me the way I want him to communicate. I'm still feeling unseen, unheard, unloved, whatever, fill in the blank. You're not connecting in that deep way. There is a reason. And we need to look at what's the setup here. What are some of the blind spots you have that continue to have you attract this type of person? And how do you change that? So firstly, let's get real. Let's get real and let's just drop into the reality of you're not 5 years old, you're not 20 years old, you're not 35 years old. You're most likely 40s, 50s, 60s, or above. People that tend to follow me are over 40, hence midlife love out loud. That means you've had decades of having experiences that have laid down beliefs around love, beliefs around connection, beliefs around your safety, beliefs around what partnership looks like. What did you learn from your parents? What do you continue to see on TV and rom-coms? All of these things affect you and lay down belief systems. And all of that is, guess where? In the shadowland, in the unconscious realm. And so if you're finding yourself going, what's wrong with me? I feel like throwing in the towel and giving up because I keep picking the wrong guy. I want to offer to you that maybe you're picking the exact guy that you're looking for. What? What do you mean, Junie? I don't want that guy. I want this guy. Yeah, but guess what? You're setting it up in some way to call in someone just like your past. Take a breath into that. And why does that happen? Because there's unfinished business in your unconscious realm. And if you haven't been to my Love-a-thon, that's coming up soon. In fact, pencil it in right now, October 17th. It's a 7-day training where we're going to dive deep every day for like an hour around this topic of updating the software that's between your ears so that you can change your patterns. But I wanted to give you something now to chew on, to think about. All right? So, you have patterns. It came from all your experiences in life, and now you're just kind of going, what's wrong with me, or what's wrong with men? I can't find any emotionally mature men. I can't find any men that can really understand me or hear me, where I feel safe and connected, all that stuff. And so we need to look at what that's about. And there's layers. And so, going back to what I said about decades, I invite you right now to put your hand on your heart and take a breath. Take a breath into the fact that you've had decades of experiences that have led you to this moment. Yay, you're here. And it's having you act out in patterns that aren't working for you. And I invite you to have some compassion and gentleness around this huge topic. Gentleness and compassion, because sister, you're a product of this culture, you're a product of your experiences, you're a product of your parents, and that's not your fault. And you're a human being that is wired for survival. And so you've made some choices, you've picked up some strategies, and they're not working. They're not working. That's why you come to me, to break these patterns and pick up new strategies, inside strategies, so that the outside changes. So for today, let's identify some of the patterns that you would like to change so that your man picker can change. And then next week, we're going to dive in deeper with part 2 around how to change your man picker and change the trajectory of your love life. You in? Of course you're in. Grab a piece of paper right now, sister. And I'm going to invite you to write down everything that just, stream of consciousness, everything that hasn't been working out with you with a guy. Like I said, he doesn't show up for me, he doesn't prioritize me, he doesn't meet me, understand me. Or you can flip it around and go, I just don't feel heard, I don't feel seen. I feel like I just keep attracting these men that are just so full of themselves and they have no room for me. And I invite you to really write these things down. And hopefully you wrote down at least one, or are thinking of at least one. One pattern, one experience that you don't want anymore. And now I'm going to ask you to lean in a little bit and ask yourself, is this familiar? Is this familiar? Did you experience maybe someone in your childhood, a parent, that didn't get you, didn't hear you, wasn't available for you, abused you, left you, betrayed you? Do you have any memory or experience from the past that has you thinking you don't deserve great love, that you can't find a great guy? Maybe you witnessed it in your parents. All of these things might be familiar to you, that have laid down this foundation that has you thinking, I can't get this or do this differently. And as long as that's in your programming, as long as you're thinking, I don't want somebody who can't get me, I don't want somebody who can't meet me, I don't want somebody that doesn't have emotional maturity or can communicate. Sister, I get it. I don't want that stuff either, but the unconscious mind is not hearing that I don't want. The unconscious mind is hearing the bad communication, not there for you, not being heard, whatever it is. And guess what happens? These lenses you have will be spotting all of the people that have that in some way, because that's what's going on inside of you. I know this is getting way ahead of the programming. We're going to dive deep into the love-a-thon with this, but at the end of the day, if inside of you you're like, I don't want to have this again, I don't want to have this again, I don't want to have this again, or I don't want to feel unlovable, I don't want to feel unlovable, if that's not healed inside of you, the universe is so smart. It's going to go, oh, she feels unlovable. Let's give her another healthy dose of that so she can maybe heal it this time. Bingo! That's why your man picker might seem broken. You are calling in the very thing that there's a part of you that's unhealed. A part of you that you've disowned. A part of you that is feeling out of sync. Let's just use that one. If you're not feeling worthy, if you're not feeling comfortable in your own skin, and then you want to go out there and call somebody in, chances are you're going to find somebody, you're going to be attracted to somebody that's going to affirm that, because that's what you believe. So, if you have patterns of calling in a man that doesn't fit, if you have patterns that you keep finding happening over and over with drama and lack of connection or intimacy or fear in your relationships, and it's affecting your man picker, today is about putting a stake in the ground and saying, yeah, I've got some patterns, it's affecting my man picker, and do some exploration about how familiar is this. Where might you have seen this before, that you took this message on, that you can't have this? And perhaps this is your way of trying to heal it. Trying to heal it. We say in shadow work, which is what I do, that we marry or date our mothers or our fathers. And so if there's, and why is that? Because there's unresolved crap that happened when you were kids, when we were kids. And so if that's not healed, if that's underneath the surface, then I promise you, if that unhealed part is still lurking, there's going to be a part of you that's going to be looking for that mom or dad to be able to recreate that pattern again so that you can heal. It's not about them. It's about you. It's about you and your journey and having it different. So, today's Tips for Love Tuesday is about, is your man picker broken? What are you doing to contribute to that? Having compassion for yourself, because it's decades of programming that continues to happen about how you should be, how you should look, what relationships should feel like, all those things. And then it's your personal journey. So have compassion for yourself and ask yourself, where have you seen this before? And then next week we'll do part 2 on how to start dismantling some of these beliefs so that you can call in a much better fit for you at this stage of life. All right, I hope you got some value out of this. For those of you that, well, actually you both, whether you're on Instagram or whether you're on Facebook Live, you could put some posts, some comments. I would love to hear one takeaway from today, or give me a thumbs up. But I would love, if you're willing, to give me put a comment in and let me know what might be one pattern that you're trying to fix, or what is one aspect of your man picker that you're like, I am so sick of calling in narcissists. I am so sick of attracting people with addictions. Put it in the chat box or put it in the comments, because being seen, being visible, owning this as part of your journey is the first step, which is awareness. And I will see you next week for part 2. Mwah!